Before I start this video, there's an old rusty tank in these bushes that's just driving me crazy. I'm gonna pull it out of there and then we'll get going. All right, I probably shouldn't like that tank so much, but I just do. It's just kind of cool, and I gotta find some kind of use for it. You know, you scrap something like that and you make like $5 or $2 or whatever, and it's never worth it. So I'm gonna keep it here and find something to do with it. This is just an update video. I do need to tell you that Melissa and I finally moved. Basically, it's a cool big spread. We've got a small barn out here and about 4 acres in this direction. And behind you is the house. Behind you, yeah, that way. That's the house. And I'm gonna walk you through the shop. This is kind of against my better judgment because the shop is just a wreck, just like a total mess. But I gotta walk you through the shop because I gotta show you the bus. The bus has a new home and it's just awesome. All right, so don't look around. This is just so messy. I'm trying to figure out this shop, but it's so big, so much bigger than my old shop. Big enough that you can open a door and you can find the prison bus inside. Yeah, check it out. High ceiling. It's a little bit tight in here. You gotta check this out. What's up, Tank? Come on. Come on, girl. All right, you gotta check this out. I did this solo earlier today, and there's just not a whole lot of extra space. I thought this garage was just maybe a foot longer than this, but the bus has kind of grown with things like the ladder. So, okay, so this is the space in the back. That's my door that opens this way, right? And then going this way, you can see it's on a gravel pad. This is the RV garage, man. Digging it. All right, this is the space in front of the bus, and it's pretty tight. I think you get the sense that it's just right up against the front and the back. But that's awesome. That means the bus is inside. So update number 1 is that the prison bus is inside undercover. And yeah, I've got like a ton of things to do on it, but not as many as I once did. I've got a couple other things in the queue, but as I've been saying, I need to paint the exterior of the bus. It's a little bit dirty. It's nasty. It's been outside its whole life. It's inside. I gotta get it cleaned up, get it painted. That's on my list. All right, so you've seen the bus, and it lives back in that door right there. Basically, this is like a 2-car plus garage, and it's just so messy right now, but it's gonna just be dialed in as the coolest shop ever, I think. But I have been busy with a couple jobs. My odd job story for this vlog is not a job from the past. And normally I tell you some story about like a job way back in the day. This is a job I had just this past week, and I posted a video about it yesterday. It was a fence restoration project. Nothing that unusual. You know, you had a leaning fence and some dead gates and whatnot, and I just needed to straighten up the fence and rebuild some gates. But what was really just so intriguing about this job, the thing that made it like a real learning experience, is that this fence, this is a big old 8-foot fence, it divided 2 neighbors who just could not have been more different. The people who hired me for the job, and they're old friends of mine. A couple of artists, you know, they had like this really pretty house and a funky life and everything, and they're just cool people. And then on the other side of this fence is just this eccentric guy. I think you could think of him as like a recluse or a hermit or something like that. He just lives in this house that's just all covered in stuff on the outside. I didn't go in, but I've heard stories that the inside's pretty wild too. I spent the last few days working on that fence project, you know, digging holes and pouring concrete and things like that. Nothing too complex there. But the complexity of the situation, like dealing with the neighbor, whenever I was over in his space, it took like a subtle touch. I was trying really hard to respect his space and not just like blow in there with my tools and make a lot of noise and a mess and whatnot. But at the same time, I needed to do the job. He granted me access. He was nice enough to say, "Hey, you can work on the fence," which I think was a stretch for him, because he has such a rambunctious, capacious collection of stuff over there that I think he was really particular about it all. To the outside view, it sort of looked like trash. You know, flower pots full of weeds and dirt and just scraps of junk and stuff like that. But I think these were his treasures, and I was trying to respect that as best I could. At the same time, I was hauling in concrete and big posts and rebuilding this fence. Anyway, I got the job done. I'm happy with it. It was a negotiation, you know, one of those negotiations between the people on one side of the fence and the people on the other. And as the dude building the fence down the middle, I was kind of in between that. There are a couple takeaways from that job. One, obviously, is that people are just so different. Oh my gosh, you see that every day. You know, not that no two people are alike, because a lot of us have similarities, but man, you can encounter some completely different folks in this life. And the guy on the other side of the fence, the neighbor, was just one of those characters. Fun to talk to, interesting. He would often be running 2 or 3 NPR stations at a time and listening to them. So I'd be like on one side of the yard listening to Talk of the Nation, and then I'd sort of like move over to the other side of the yard and it'd be like Democracy Now! Anyway, so that's one takeaway. Another for me on that job was that just kind of like a reminder of the value of older things and not throwing them out. You know, this was a fence that was like falling down basically, and a lot of people would have come in and just replaced it, you know, put in a new fence. But for a lot less money, less time and effort as well, we were able to, you know, fix the fence, give it some more life. It's not the best, but I think it's a lot better now. And it was just kind of a reminder that you don't always have to like completely rebuild something and make it perfect and new. You can often refurbish something, tweak it, work with it, and get some distance out of it. Now, that is exactly what I have been thinking about regarding this shop. Originally, I had sort of fantasized about coming in here, painting the whole thing, building new shelves, getting it all set up. But just because I'm busy with other things, it's gonna have to go slow. I am going to blow this shop out at some point, but right now I'm just trying to inhabit it as it is. And man, it is messy and it is a little bit funky. The only thing I needed to do really was to handle the dirt. And once I got it really clean and bleached and vinegared and all that, it doesn't smell bad and it's working. All right, here's one more project in the works. This big old beefy table. You might have seen this in a previous video. It's been one of those projects I've been working on for a while, and it's really just about done. I need to finish it, which means sanding it and painting the steel, and then I'm gonna put a cool top on it. I'm thinking of a little bit of texture on the top. I think that might be cool. I'm gonna use this kind of like 2-stage epoxy for the top, which is going to be like a really hard finish, and I'm thinking maybe embedding something in that. So I gotta let that percolate a little bit, but I'm gonna try to finish this in the next couple days. All right, one more cool upcoming project that I'm pretty excited about is a roof deck for a bus that is almost identical to my bus, but it's not my bus. It turns out there's a couple that live just a few miles from here, and they live in a schoolie, you know, converted school bus. It's not a prison bus, but it's an old school bus, and it's a cool bus. It needs a roof rack slash deck, and they reached out to me to say, hey man, you want to build us one? And I'm going to do that in a couple of weeks. I've got a few things lined up between now and then, but before too long, I'm going to drop another video of another roof deck on a bus, just not my bus. It's going to be a fun project. Obviously, the other thing I need to do is tune up this shop. I've just been trying to sort first, and then I've got to organize next. And as you can see, man, this place is kind of crazy. It's not totally usable, and I need to get it to a usable stage before I can start getting it dialed in and just right. All right, that is what I've got for now, and those are my updates. Thanks for checking it out. Ooh.